Hello and welcome to True Story Studios. We are kind of giving you a behind-the-scenes look at three of your hosts. I'm Mike Colvin, host of the Unity Report and owner of True Story Studios. Sitting next to me, we have Irma Janelle, and she is the host of the Feel the Love podcast hour. And next to her is Lucy Atkins, our newest podcaster, and she has the Empowerment Journey podcast. So it's kind of rare to have three hosts of three different podcasts together. What we've decided to do here is because we all fall under the True Story umbrella. True Story produces all three podcasts, that we just sit down and talk and kind of catch up about a little bit behind the scenes of what goes into our podcasts and a little bit of how we try to push forward the positive message. I think all three of us are completely guilty of wanting positivity in our lives, wanting people that are positive in our lives, and pushing the agenda on our shows. I'm constantly breaking my topic, which is independent film and television, to just spread a more positive, more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not just positive, but more understanding across our lines here that we all draw, like, Republican, Democrat, pessimist, optimist. There's just all these lines drawn all over, and the true path through kind of life is to find like-minded people and to be positive, like to just understand faults and flaws and carry on with a great attitude. And that's actually the topic of both of you ladies' shows. Right. Irma, you're a little more focused on what am I looking for here? Compassion, yeah, but you're really focused on the stories. Like, it could be a business owner, it could be just a friend that or a student, and you actually have a wonderful book coming out in the coming months, and a DVD series coming out in the coming months, and we're going to get into that because I want to make sure that everybody understands the hard work that Irma puts into her business, and like most of us, also into life and a day job, and, right, and the stresses that are there, and staying positive throughout it, which is great. And Lucy is just a wonderfully talented actress, theater actress, film, TV. Soon to have her own spot on Phoenix Shorts, the TV show getting produced this summer out of True Story Studios. And we're going to dive into your career and what's up next for you. And you got a clothing line too, and it's just a wonderful thing. So that's kind of what this podcast is going to be about. We were back and forth on what to name a podcast that's really just a hybrid conversation. So True Story Fusion, I guess, is what we're going to call this. And we'll put out an episode a month or so and just check in with everybody and have various different hosts of different podcasts come on. It's probably important to announce as well that here at True Story Studios, we are no longer carrying the MMA show. I don't feel that it was the right fit for us in our overall message. So that's where I'll leave that. And, other people that get paid to figure out these things can figure it out past that. We're going to stay positive.
My dad always told me that if you have nothing good to say,
don't say it, right?
Anything at all.
It's perfect. Yeah. That's right. But right, to stick with the good that's happening here at True Story Studios, we'll one, I wanted you two ladies to get together because your shows are so intertwined with your messages. So you're both about empowerment and about like Lucy just did a little sneak peek for her upcoming show on Friday. Lucy just did a show on yoga and the positive, influences of meditation and all that, and that's going to be an amazing show. And Irma yesterday sat and did 4 shows because she's got a busy move coming up and had to get out ahead of it. So she's actually now produced all the way through July. What was your favorite show from yesterday?
From yesterday it had to been Jim, because
oh my God, he was amazing, wasn't he?
He was amazing. He's the most intelligent person I have ever interviewed, and he just was full of information, and he wasn't negative and he wasn't positive, but he covered so much.
He's that one in a million kind of cat. Like, yes, he really is. Like, all your shows just yesterday were really good, but that show, like I just like the level of intelligence that he was putting out there as an artist too.
Yes.
Like his art's amazing, but like he's also like this genius programmer. It's just a far
he's
stretch.
amazing.
Like you wouldn't think an artist and a programmer would
Exactly.
be that together, but they're together in this guy's body and making it work. And he's a fabulous interview.
And he's actually the cover artwork on my book that is going to be coming out. And he actually donated the artwork. He didn't even make me pay for it. And his artwork goes from anywhere from $100 to $5,000 per piece. So he's a great
That's
human
so
being.
generous.
It was really hard to not purchase one of those, like, because I try when people bring artwork in, and I like it sometimes and sometimes I don't. That's art, and but I try really hard not to put myself in the space where I'm going to be a customer to somebody coming in, because it's like catching them off
Right.
guard, and then it'll throw them off their game for their conversation. So, like, if I really like something, I will go back and purchase it later. You know, I'll wait a little while and purchase something, which I probably will with him.
Yeah.
But man, like, it was so hard to not just on the spot buy that one that looked like kind of like the black hole
Oh, yeah.
exploding out into nova, and
Yeah.
it's just like, whew.
He's
It was
very
gorgeous.
talented. Yeah.
He is.
And my dad, of course, that was the next podcast. That was wonderful.
Well, your dad's a wonderfully intelligent person
Yeah,
too,
and it was like a
very
Hallmark
sharp
card.
witted for how old is he? Like 90?
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah.
He's in his 80s.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and the interview actually went like a Hallmark card.
Wow, that's
Literally.
perfect.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It did. It was very good. It was very well received too.
Mhm.
Like a lot of positive comments coming that way. And let's talk for just a second about comments. When you're commenting on some of these podcasts and the things that are, don't be afraid to share your experience. Like, don't be afraid. Like, people will write comments, particularly with Irma's show lately, like, you know, how good it is. But don't be afraid to, like, tell us why. Don't be afraid to tell us what you don't like. Don't be afraid to, like, for us, we're podcasters because we don't want to be nameless, faceless people in this giant mass media world. We want to, like, I've been doing mine for 7 years now, and I couldn't even tell you, like, there's over 100 episodes of it. And I get a lot of feedback, but I don't get, like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like Jim gets feedback saying, "Why don't you focus more on this topic?"
Right.
Or, and
So-
it's
but
just like-
there's a word for creative criticism, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I'm game for that. I don't know about you ladies, but
Yeah,
I'm
that would be very useful, actually.
it's very useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're an actor. So
Yes.
do you want your director to be like, "Oh yeah, or that's good," and then just write you off for everything else, or do you want them to be like, "Listen, you know, you're doing good, but I need this from you," and then because he pushes you that direction, you now land other roles
Yeah.
because you fine tuned your
Yeah.
craft. Like, it doesn't. Don't go super negative, like, to be a jerk, because that's you just being a jerk. But creative criticism is absolutely welcome, and it's something that I would really like. If people don't put it onto their pages directly, by all means, go to the True Story Studios page and just say, "Hey, you know, we would like the Feel the Love podcast hour to approach this topic or approach this differently." And by all means, like, if it's creative criticism, we will not only respond to that, but we will grow from it as well. So, like, I always like to put that out there, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, well, I'm on episode 2, so
Yeah,
I
you're
would,
on
I would
episode
love some
2.
feedback on how I'm doing.
I think you're doing great.
Oh,
You,
I
you are.
really
You're
do.
doing wonderful.
You are.
Thank you very much.
Because I have seen them, and you've got a great positive attitude, and the smile is very, very
The interview
infectious.
earlier today was very good.
Yeah.
It was very good.
I found it absolutely fascinating.
And the story of how you met him, and that's met her. Well, that's the great thing too. That's why it's called True Story Studios, because there's just so many great true stories out there. So this woman was your Uber driver,
Oh,
A-
really?
Yes,
and
that's
like
right, yes.
was a fabulous yoga instructor, but happened to drive Uber too. And you just had a
Wow.
chance meeting, and then you got a great podcast out of it. So
Absolutely. And I think that's, that's one one of the great things when you do go out into the world and you meet people, you know, you hear these unexpected stories, and I'm so happy that I've now got this platform where I can share them with more people, you know, where I can help people get their stories out there. So I think it's wonderful.
It is. It truly is.
And sometimes what happens is you'll be out just enjoying each other's company, and all of a sudden you realize that maybe the friend that you invited for dinner has a story that you want to get out there. And, you know, you say, okay, I'm willing to bribe you. I'll buy your dinner and come on to my show. And you would be surprised at the different levels of intimacy that they're willing to share with you. And it's very, very valuable, because once your friends see that they can trust you, they're going to tell other people.
Yes. Yes.
And, you know, that's the same with actors. You know, if you admire someone, not necessarily your competition, but someone that you work with, and say, hey, you know, I love the work that you do. Would you mind coming on to my show? That's a win-win situation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure that's how hopefully the word is going to get out there, you know, by people sharing in that way.
Or
think
even a
that'd be
good
great.
director that you like
Yes.
because of their leadership skills. You know, it's all in perspective, you know, so that sometimes I look at people like, is this a good opportunity for a podcast or not? And especially my friends, because they know me and they feel comfortable, so they don't feel like it's an interview. If that
Yeah,
makes
it's
sense.
like a conversation.
Right. Conversational is always good.
Yeah, like
Always
your
good.
husband. You should be interviewing him.
Oh, he wants to come on.
Oh, he
He's
totally
really
should.
excited.
So,
Yeah.
so those
He
who don't know
should.
Lucy,
my
her
God.
husband is a professional bodybuilder,
Yeah.
like in phenomenal body. Like
Yeah.
holy crap! I when we became Facebook friends, obviously it's like, you know, it pops up, and I'm like, all right, well, let's take a peek at the pictures.
Yeah.
And I seen the pictures of your husband's last competition, and I'm like, holy shit! I immediately need to write a movie for this guy where he's just standing there, like nothing else in the movie, just him standing there, like he is a specimen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done amazingly well, and I'm hoping that he's going to be willing to come on. I think his story would be really empowering, actually, because he lost 80 pounds.
Right.
Plus now, actually, more than 80 pounds in order to do this thing that he really wanted to do. So
Yeah.
I think it's a great story, and it's been a pleasure to watch. So.
It's certainly a story of determination. Like you don't
Yeah.
get there without just really working your butt off.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment. It's been, you know, over a year, probably over a year and a half now in the making, and I'm just really proud of him. I just think it's amazing. You know?
It is. It's totally amazing.
Yeah, we look at our wedding pictures now, and it's like I married a different person. He looks so different.
Just
You know,
look-
I
just
would
look at the
I
pictures.
seen both because you have them up online,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, kinda,
But you know,
kinda.
that's part of the journey of a marriage, because at the you
Well, you're
don't know
good
what
on them
you-
for sure. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you don't know what you're in store for, you know, and lives change when you get married. You may have started out thin, and then you get a little heavier, and then
Oh my God.
you get a new job, or you get a promotion, or you get fired, and it's watching that person evolve into.
I gotta tell you something,
Something
ladies.
else.
I feel really bad for my wife because, like, I've always loved this woman. Like, she was my first. Like, we actually bought the house that we both, you know, whatever, in New York, just to have it. Like, we were each other's first or high school sweet, or not even high school, it was like junior high, sweethearts. And so we have this great, lovely, romantic kind of story, and I love her very deeply, and I show it. I'm a very affectionate person. I'm a cuddler, but when I went and got her, we had been talking back and forth, and then it wasn't even that long ago. It was like a year and 10 months ago. Like I just flew to New York, and I packed her and her kid and all their shit into a U-Haul, and I drove them to my house. Like.
Right.
I wasn't gonna wait another minute.
That's
But
so
when
romantic.
I did that, I swam every single day. Like, I was always a swimmer, and I worked out, and I was easily 30 pounds lighter and nice and cut. You know, not like your husband, like
Right.
nothing like that. But I was relatively cut, and I looked pretty good. And when I started building this place, I come off a ladder
And you hurt
and
yourself.
hurt myself bad.
I didn't didn't know this.
So then I couldn't, like, I already had back problems from the military, but like it was extreme. Like it just I'm on so many pills now, it's not even funny. But in doing like that, like I'm an eater too. Like the only reason I was fit was because I worked at it. But I still eat like I always did. I'm like snacker. I eat all day. I eat junk food. I eat garbage and candy. Like it doesn't matter. Like and I've gained like 30 pounds. I feel so bad because like I came and got her. I was this. I asked her to marry me. I was still that. And then
But
fast forward to a marriage and it was like instant 30 pounds.
But the
I just
thing
feel
of it is-
horrible. But like I can't work out
it's
anymore.
It's not about the weight. It's about the total package. You married her because you love her unconditionally, and she accepts you unconditionally.
Well, she does, but still, like I think it may be time to hit the gym. Like
Well-
just try.
But you're willing to accept all of the flaws. That's the same with my husband. He's my best friend. I couldn't imagine my life without him. Is he?
I'm
like a
willing to accept
bodybuilder?
most of the flaws. Like I'm a bit of a perfectionist
Well,
in reality. So
I
like I have
know.
most of the flaws,
No.
but some of them I'm like, yo, putting that shit up.
I know I have
Out.
flaws. I completely am flawed. But, he doesn't work out. The most workout he does is through his finger, changing the damn channel. So, but he's my positive reinforcement. He's my to-go person. He's my confidence. And for you, because you're newly married, right, you admire him and he worships you. That will pass, my child.
No, I don't think it. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. But I will say, life gets in the way sometimes. But
Yeah.
it doesn't have to.
No,
it
he
doesn't have
worships
to be
me
that way.
still. So,
Oh, that's lovely.
I'm just letting you know that.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, me and my husband did long distance for 3 years.
Oh.
So we
yeah.
got to know each other pretty well over Skype. And, you have to talk when you're in a long distance relationship.
Right.
have
You
to-
do.
You have to.
The Jessica and I.
Yeah.
That's how we rekindled. It was over Messenger.
Yeah.
I
did
actually,
too, actually.
I wrote a movie called On Messenger, that was like, so
I should
it
have
was
been
the
on it.
first Facebook Live movie too. Like
Oh,
that's a
really?
big claim to fame for me. I was the first one to do a movie on Facebook Live, and I did it all with Alfred Hitchcock style effects, like the old school effects. Like the passage of the day was literally friends of mine like blocking out the light and then putting it back, and like. So it was a modern telling of Romeo and Juliet, because I'm like, well, what's the worst that's going to happen from this relationship? Mind you, I was still married to my ex-wife when this all started, so I guess the worst thing was for her.
Be nice.
I am being nice. It's true, I take responsibility, but and 70% of my shit, but whatever. So like I'm in this space, and I'm like, it was just like we were right back in the beginning, like, and just like this is a woman that I have compared every woman to, and it's why every one of my relationships have failed, because it was not this woman. Like I know that now, and so that's kind of like my love for her, but so On Messenger was me thinking through it, like what's the worst going to happen. So the whole premise of the movie is like Romeo and Juliet, but we're talking back and forth over Messenger, so we're typing it out. And so instead of like the misunderstanding of somebody taking a drug to pretend to be dead and all that nonsense, which Shakespeare like sucked at writing, honestly, I think. Like it's just so. I guess back then it was new and fresh, but
You need
like
to.
now it's like
you need to redo it, because all three of us met through the internet and kept the relationship going. That's how I met my husband.
Oh.
Oh.
Was through Yahoo dating, and they had the dial pad where you could call long distance for free.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And we talked for like 3 hours straight, weekends, but they didn't have video back then. And we actually met, but if it wouldn't have been for the Yahoo, the singles thing, we wouldn't have met.
Well, that's like for me, how it happened is right after my 20th wedding anniversary. I feel like a scumbag every time I tell this story. She popped up in my timeline on Facebook, like people you may know, because my mom had friended her. So like how that crossover works with Facebook, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know her. I've only been looking for her for 23 years. And so anyways, when we're like deep into it, it was before I came and got her. It was like right before I came and got her, like 2 months before. And I one day just had this crazy, some days I get inspiration and I just write. Like I'll just spend an entire day writing, and I don't like type write. Like I just write and just fill notebooks, and then somebody else deciphers it later and types it, type thing. So anyways, I wrote this movie on Messenger, and it was literally the back and forth we were having on Messenger. So all day long while at work, the two of us would type messages, and then at night we would video chat. Like I would just walk around the block and stuff and video chat with her. And so that's how the movie goes. And then I show the passage. The whole movie is like it's a short. And I show the passage of time and everything. But there's a computer glitch to where we get disconnected on Messenger, but in the heat of asking some major serious questions, because at that point, Jesus Christ, I hope my ex-wife doesn't watch this and go for more money. At that point,
edit this part out.
Right. No. But at that point, that's where we were. Like we were getting serious. Like if I come get you, because she had her own situation, by the way. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, if I fly to New York and I come get you, will you come?
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
And that she took a minute to answer that, obviously, because you should. But in that time, like my stomach just dropped, and you know how that feeling, like, oh my God, like, oh. So in those moments, that's when I came up with On Messenger, and that's how the movie plays out. So basically, like, there's this profound statement, and the camera draws in on me actually typing it out. And the funny thing is, I can't type. Like, anybody knows me, I can't type.
Right.
So I had to run a keyboard off screen to somebody that could actually type, and then I had to pretend to type because
Right.
I started it myself.
Otherwise, the movie would be twice as long.
Right. It would be So that's the behind the scenes of a movie anyway. But so it gets to that point, and it drops off, and I leave a long pause in the movie, so you can kind of feel that at that point, like, oh, gut wrench. And then so like I get mad, I strike the table, and I'm a method guy, so like I put myself into the space. And so I pick up my gun off the desk, and like I blow my brains out in the movie. And this was all being shot live, so like squid packs were going off,
Oh, that's
and like
charming.
blood was squirted. It just went everywhere. I shot this in my bedroom at my house, so like the ceiling is forever stained with
that's
this red
charming.
dye stuff.
That stuff is hard to get out.
It's ridiculously hard to get out. Like I just left it. I was like, whatever. And so I kill myself in the movie, but it's live. It's like happening live. So it's on Facebook Live, like
Right.
in real time. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it.
Oh.
So I got the greatest praise for any work I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
My mom called my phone and thought I had killed myself,
Right.
and my aunt did too. And my aunt didn't believe that I didn't do it until I showed up in New York in person,
Well, yeah.
and
When
she
you
physically
have-
seen me.
Can you blame
Yeah.
her?
Yeah.
And like it's still to this date like the greatest compliment on my work, because I truly made people that know me believe I blew my head off.
Wow.
That's a great testament to your work.
Right? No, it really was.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna relaunch
genuinely.
that. I haven't. That's been a couple years. I'm gonna relaunch that just for fun.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
want to
like-
see it.
It was great fun making it. It really was. But yeah, it's just like I'm thinking of the
Wow.
moments like my ex-wife was still there and like
Wow.
on set. I'm making this movie. It's just fucked up.
Wow.
The fucked up things we do for love, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It's
Right?
amazing what we do
Like-
for love.
Yes.
It'll take you anywhere.
It takes you
Mm-hmm.
to places that you do and you don't want to go to.
I don't
all
know
I'm
that
gonna
I
say.
don't. There's no level I wouldn't go to for my wife. Right. now.
Right.
Yeah.
Like none.
Well, I think
She could be like, "Yo, go murder that guy over there," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, I guess I have to."
yeah. Well, I think at the beginning you would do anything for that individual, but as you progress in a marriage, you learn your own individuality, your own personality, your own likes, and to respect the differences, which can be very challenging because at the beginning you are one.
Yeah.
Everybody knows you are one, and you must act as one. And so when they look at you and say, "Well, no, I really don't like that," and you're like, "Really? You've never told me that." I mean, and that's the discovering part. But as you mature older, as you get longer into a marriage, and you get to the point where you can finish each other's sentences.
Yes.
or you can look at each other and know what the other person is thinking, which is the freakiest thing, whether you have alcohol or drugs or anything in your system. It's amazing that I can look at him and he'll say, did you mean to ask me this? And I'll look at him like, yeah. And it's, it's a nice compliment, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Right. So you pick up on each other's body languages over time, and it's like a kinetics, I think, is what it's called, the
Yes.
study of physical language. And it is it makes up most of our communication. Like it's a very important thing. Like when you're angry, it shows on your face, right? And when you're happy, it shows on your face as well. And it's kind of like for the most part, it's the reason I think people look at each other while passing. Like, 'cause I don't know if you've ever caught this, but like people will look at you and then look down
Yeah.
if they feel comfortable, if they feel like they're not in danger, or if they
Right.
feel like they're in danger, they don't take their eyes off you.
Yes.
They just stare
Right.
you down the whole time. I think it's like a primal communication.
Right. No, you're right.
Because we had to communicate some way in order to make a unified language in the first place. So like it makes sense that it's the body language. It's the getting to
Absolutely.
know somebody.
And part of any relationship, especially as a couple, is not just physical and emotional, but also the chemistry is usually first. Let's see if we get along physically. I mean, because a woman identifies her mate by her nose.
Oh, really?
It's by her nose.
Smell?
Sense of
By
smell?
By smell. And after that, the chemistry, you can determine, even after they sweat, yeah, I still want to be with this person.
That's so
Or
interesting.
no, they smell like gross garbage.
It doesn't
and I gotta
matter
go.
because it's
Ryan will probably kill me for saying this, but since he's lost weight, he smells different.
exactly.
It's so
That is actually true.
Yeah.
Suddenly he smells like popcorn, and it's wonderful. It's like walking into a movie theater. I'm like, oh.
but
I
it's-
can't wait for him to come on your show and just be
Yeah.
like, I don't know what she's saying.
Yeah. Well, he should be watching the podcast.
Well, he does, I'm sure.
Yeah.
He seems like a very supportive guy.
He's so supportive. He's been amazing, and everything I do, he's like sharing on Facebook, and I feel very lucky.
Well, that's good. And the other thing
Yeah.
is, when you get past some people never get past the physical chemistry, but then you go into the emotional and physical and the spiritual attraction that you may have not discovered when you were getting to know each other, or as you go along, you realize, you know what, I think our relationship needs this. And so you do what you need to do to amplify or help the relationship
Yeah.
in whatever way possible.
I think that's definitely true, and I think it's really interesting because we did get to know each other pretty much over Skype. When we did finally move in together properly, it was like a whole new
Individual.
a new
new
cycle
layer.
of getting to which was really fascinating and probably strained at times, but I don't really remember those times.
It is. When Jessica and I first moved in, so I'm, I don't want to say a neat freak because that sounds negative, but I am very tidy.
Everything in its place.
Right.
And a place for everything. That's what my grandma
Correct.
says.
Yes. No, that is exactly me. And I'm a bit of a germaphobe, if I'm being honest, which is why I don't know if you ladies ever notice, I Lysol these things every time somebody uses them because, I got to use them someday. So I'm a little meticulous, we'll say, with things. And she is, it's a little bit like the Odd Couple, right?
Yeah, opposites attract.
Right, so you got Oscar, and he's the messy one, and then you got Felix, and I'm a Felix, and she's an Oscar,
Right.
and that's tough.
Yeah,
That's a
it
tough
is.
process.
Yeah, figuring that out.
Are you two that way?
We're both terribly messy.
And see, I'm the pig, and he should be a Martha Stewart in the sense that when we buy a house, it is what he wants. It is not what I want. The only thing I want is a garage. That's it. I don't want anything else. I have to be sure that the cook is happy because he does all the cooking in the household.
See, I do all the cooking in my house too.
Yeah.
If you don't make the cook happy, you ain't getting squat. You're not going to be able to be fed. They're not going to do your laundry. They're not going to do anything.
Oh, I don't
So
do laundry.
He does everything.
I don't do
Oh,
laundry.
you are so lucky. I mean, Ryan's a great cook. His dad's a chef. So he's like,
Man, I'd be inviting him.
I'd be
over all
going to the
time.
restaurant every day. I'd be like, yeah, I'm not making a mess of my house. Let's go to the
Where's
restaurant.
the
"Go
free
with Dad's,"
benefits?
Yeah.
Yeah, dinner's on Dad tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just all about, getting that complimentary compromise. Okay, I'm willing to give this up, but what are you willing to give up? Because sometimes, there'll be arguments where you're like, you've got to be kidding. This is not at all what I realized about you. But you just have to get to that point where you're willing to say, you know what? I'm not gonna go there with you because I need some time, or I'm gonna try to understand your perspective and just move on to the next, and come back in time to be able to talk about it rationally.
Yeah, I think
And
Ryan
that's
and I,
challenging.
Yeah, definitely matured together in that sense when we met and we were in our early 20s, and the things we used to argue about, I just think, oh, that was so daft. It doesn't matter. But we've kind of grown up together to just appreciate, okay, I don't agree with you, but I still love you. That's your opinion, and to be able to respect it without needing to agree
Fix
with,
it.
yeah, without needing to change it, I think has been a
Yeah, that's a
great.
tough one. We stopped talking politics at my house.
Well,
Yeah,
and the
just
way
don't bring it up.
Yeah, we don't.
right, and the but that's what we, and not just in marriages, in relationships. I mean, you can have a friend 5 years ago that
Friends,
you could
business
depend
partners.
on it,
I mean, whatever.
and all of a sudden they're out of your life, and
Oh,
you're like,
yes.
how did that happen? And then you realize our perspectives changed, and that's what happens in life. You continually change, both of you, and all of a sudden you're like, I thought I needed that friend, but I guess I don't.
Well, let me pull us all the way back from where we got sidetracked to the topic, in saying that this is all the most important part of empowerment or of enlightenment, or however you want to frame it, is understanding. And it takes you have to in order to be enlightened, you have to take yourself out of self, and you have to put yourself out there in other people's shoes, and try to understand where they're coming from. And that's the basic of what we're talking about when we're talking about relationships and our marriages and whatnot, is that because we are positive people, because we are enlightened people, and that's a rarity. People don't understand that's a rarity in this day. There's a lot of hate out there.
Yeah.
But to be able to be mindfulness, that's what your last podcast was about, mindfulness. That's what mindfulness is. It's not, in order to be positive, in order to take the steps that are needed to be the better you have to understand you from other people's perspectives.
And what I've learned is you have to leave your ego on the side. And that is the hardest thing
Oh my
for
God, it
people.
is.
Because
Well, that's what ego is, right? It's
Exactly.
your self
right.
expression of self. So
But if you
it's-
practice mindfulness, like your last individual,
Yes.
a yoga instructor, and by the way, I'm a great yoga instructor too. But
You are.
anyways, but what I'm saying is, what I've learned is you have to literally take a step back and put your feelings on hold when you have a brand new situation that normally you're judgmental on, because the ego will always try to take over any perspective, and that is challenging, especially with people that you may not agree with in any form or fashion.
Yes. Yeah. It's very, very difficult, and the last guest just had some really, really fresh perspective on that. It was really nice to listen to.
It was, and you can let's do that too. So the indie report's a little hard to nail down because I don't do it at a certain time. I do it when I feel like it because that's how I do it. So you have to literally stay tuned. And no, I'm a very busy guy, and it's increasingly harder to find the time to do an indie report. So you just have to stay tuned for those. They're all over the place. Irma, Field of Love Podcast Hour, is every Saturday at 2.
Right.
And the Empowerment Journey is every Friday at 2. And it's just a good 1-2 punch to get you in the right positive space. They're very true stories. They're very you're both very good at what you're doing. Lucy's somewhat new to it, but already a natural. Plus the British accent, like you can listen to it all day. She should be sitting here just reading a book.
Exactly.
It's story time with Lucy Atkins.
Yes.
Once upon a time.
Oh, I'd love to do audiobooks. I think that'd be really good.
You got the voice for it. You probably could pull it off. And Irma, who is seasoned and polished at this point, but an excellent interviewer. Excellent,
tried.
absolutely excellent interviewer.
And all of the podcasts that I have done are friends and my students in my classes, because
you've done business owners as
yes,
well.
I've done, but they were still students of mine, and it's just nice to show the light that you are a fantastic person. You have got to show this. And
Well, that's the secret behind True Story Studios, right? Everybody has a story,
Yeah.
and everybody's story is a story of human triumph, of human failure. It runs the gambit, because that's what life is. Like, life is just beautifully messy.
yeah, and you
I
have
love
to
that.
enjoy it. You have to enjoy the ride, even through the rough times, because you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So if you don't make today the most awesome moment, it's your own fault. That's the way I look at it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Irma, for just a few seconds, just because I want to wrap this podcast up. You know, I don't like to go long with the podcast.
Okay.
The very important things going on for the Field of Love podcast hour are twofold. There's a DVD, well, not really DVD. We'll call it a video series, because we want to do it through links.
Right.
Coming out, where Irma teaches various different types of yoga. So Irma's current claim to fame is she has a different approach to yoga. What she does is it's more of handy-capable yoga. Would that be a good way to say it?
Yeah, people with disabilities will want to take the classes because my body is not perfect. And I love my body, and I'm not ashamed to say you have to do
Well,
this. modified.
Irma's extremely skilled in helping people with challenges, physical challenges, get yoga into their lives, and that's what these DVD series, I keep saying DVD, like I'm so old school.
No.
DVD. They're on VHS.
There you go.
Got your Betamax ready. No, so
1999.
so digital download. We'll be doing it a couple different ways. We'll be doing it on Amazon, and then a direct download link from the website. You know, and after purchase, if that's what you want to do, or I think you're going to be doing like monthly accounts as well, right?
Right.
With updates and blogs and stuff.
Right.
So that's what Irma's got going on, and she also wrote a wonderful book that is in the midst of being published and should be available for purchase mid-July, I think, and maybe a little sooner with the digital format, and that'll be up on the website. So why don't you give us your website information? Why don't you give us, your thoughts on what's happening and how your business is taking this new form?
My website is peacewithinyou.org, and on there it will explain all the different classes that I teach, pregnancy, parent, baby, family yoga, just whatever your taste is. And the book is about, I call it releasing it all and being able to forgive yourself and anybody who may have hurt you in your life, because you really can't move on in life until you've learned the lesson from a previous experience. Because once you forgive, then you're more open to the next level of love. And that's the way I view life, honestly.
So I've read the book, anyways, and it's at points very powerful. And I highly recommend reading it. I mean, Oprah's story has nothing on Irma's story, for sure.
Well, thank you. And at the back is all the poetry I have written.
Wonderful.
So the first part is about me and the people I've met, and the back is the poetry, whether it be good story, good poetry, or the heartfelt ones, where I knew a friend who was going to consider having an abortion, and I wrote a poem, and I showed it to her, and she almost killed me and decided to have the baby because the poem was that powerful, and I wasn't trying to do that. I was just looking at the
You're just
perspective.
expressing your
I
feelings
was
as an artist.
expressing my feeling as
Right.
an artist.
And people sometimes love artists, sometimes hate
Yeah.
artists, right?
Yes, they have the power to move us, for
Right.
sure.
And by the way, she's still my friend. So
Well, that's good. I would have sued you for child support.
I know.
Yes.
I
Yeah, you have to babysit or something.
Yeah, something. So that's what Irma's got going on, and both will be available through the website, peacewithinyou.org. I built the website, and
Yes.
I always struggle with that because we named your podcast differently. It's so weird.
Right.
But
it is-
I'm also
it is
going to
a
put a
program.
page up on tsstudios.org because I would at this point want you to have multiple websites that people can go to, pull from, and get information. So we're going to do an Irma host page, and we'll do a Lucy Atkins host page up on the website. I plan to do a lot of website work next week, so that should be up and running by the end of the week.
There you go.
Very exciting, yes.
Yeah. Because you are up and coming. You're in a flower that is blossoming right now.
Yes, well, since arriving in Arizona, I've been so fortunate in order to meet so many great people, in the acting community who have really helped me get on and meet other people. And it does sort of feel like
Surreal.
yeah, it's very surreal, but it's been wonderful. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, it's
Yeah.
good. That's very good. I mean, it always feel that. You know what I mean? If you can, like, try to hold on to feelings like that. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and I still love every little piece that leaves me. Like, even the marketing stuff. Like, even the marketing stuff. Like, it's a little more formulated and a little, like, everybody thinks, like, oh, how original when you see a commercial. And the reality is very formulated. Like, there's a reason for everything. And the good directors will make it look like it's not, but there is. Even those silly commercials with Brad Pitt or the Lincoln commercials, like it's all to hit emotional triggers, and it's very like your guy you had on last night. He would have been a gem at trying to figure out how to put a commercial together.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's just very knowledgeable about the
the
emotional
customers
entanglements and the algorithms that go along with it. Because we are just all people, and we are all just kind of like this machine that moves about, and there's ways to do it. Anyways, but I'm even proud as an artist for those pieces, and I'm particularly proud of podcasts and of just using my voice to hopefully brighten somebody's day, if not bring a little reason to it. Right, so I still love this, even though I've been doing it so long. Like, I still love every bit of this. I could sit here and talk all day. I actually look at my phone because I'm realizing I'm like 20 minutes over already on podcast length, and I could still go like for another 4 hours. I can't help it. I love doing this.
Well, thank you for doing this,
Yes.
Michael. We so appreciate it.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to talk with other hosts, right?
Yes.
It's much easier than, so who are you? Where are you from?
And
Yeah,
what-
it's a nice little change.
And what can you provide for me? No.
Right. Well, I mean, a little bit of that, because you're asking that for like your audience. Like, what do you provide? What value are you bringing to our audience here? And it's nice to just talk with other hosts, and it's nice to get you two together because you follow along such similar lines. And I believe at some point you'll probably put out a book, and we'll be sitting here talking about your book, and Irma will come back and be like, "Yeah, I hit the bestseller list." And life is good, sunshine and roses.
Yeah.
I hope so. We'll
So-
see.
What's the future hold for you right now?
My future is to stop the rat race, and I'm moving to Helena, Montana, because I love trout fishing and the outdoors, and I'm going to be doing
You're going
my
to find that
podcast
peace within
there.
you,
I am going to find my peace within you through trout fishing.
right? I love fishing too,
and-
fly fishing, regular fishing,
you
but
know,
on the boat. Like,
It's
I love
just
it.
a new chapter for me, and I can't wait. I got a promotion in my job, and
It's going to be so hard for you to slow down, though.
Oh,
So
no.
people that don't know Irma, she teaches classes.
On
She
top
like
of a
works
full-time job.
nonstop work, and she's about to slow down, go to a slower place for work, and
Yeah.
go to a slower just kind of lifestyle. And
Yes.
I
But
wish you luck in that transition.
I need that
but
because
yeah.
we're going to have
gonna be
kids.
tough at first.
We're going to adopt foster kids.
Well,
And
that's
so-
nice. That's so nice. You should
Congratulations.
totally do that.
Well,
like,
we tried it
who
here.
understands it more than you?
Exactly, but I don't. I tried it here and it didn't work. And nothing against the foster system, but
Cultural gap.
no,
No?
it was a miscommunication. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh,
But
well, yeah. Bureaucracy here is a little weird.
Yeah, but we are going to adopt children in Montana,
Congratulations.
and I see things in the future, and things actually happen that way, and it's just all falling into place, and I'm just very excited on the new chapter. Just like you coming to Arizona and people recognizing your great talent.
There's
and
nothing like a
acting.
new adventure.
Yeah.
There's
Nothing
nothing
like
like it.
No.
Yeah, and you know, you're ready for those opportunities to open up to you in
Yes.
acting or whatever your life may take you to.
Absolutely. I think it is just being really open to whatever comes your way. You know, I didn't know that I'd like podcasting so much, but the opportunity
great fun.
presented
It is.
itself.
It's great
and
fun.
I absolutely love it. So just being
Right.
open to that has led to so many new
Yeah.
doors opening.
So what's going on for you in the near future, we'll say, other than, you know, being married to a Greek god?
Yeah, no kidding.
Apart from that,
Like, for real.
I know. Well, I mean, nothing like that, but I'm about to start working on a short video series for the Bridge Initiative. Brenda, who was my episode
right.
1. We're going to do the way I'm thinking. I don't want to say too much because I haven't finalized it, but kind of like a fun little, you know, very short videos to introduce people to the bridge and the wonderful people who work on it.
Nice.
I'm really excited to get working on that. Video is actually a new adventure for me, digital editing and that type of thing. So I'm very excited to explore that more. And
Well, obviously, if you need help in that realm, I mean, you can count on True Story Studios.
Yeah.
thank you very much. I
I can
appreciate
certainly
it.
teach you a few tricks.
Oh, I'd love that.
You
That'd be
watched
really
me
good.
at it the other day. What'd you think?
I found it fascinating. I was like, watching, like, what's he doing?
I move really quick. People get mad at me. Like I try to explain something to people, like different employees and stuff, and yeah, they get upset. Like, stop, slow down. I'm like, I can't help it, guys. Like
I might need you to
I have
slow down for
well
me.
over the 10,000 hours required to be a master at something.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's second nature. But I actually often think about slowing down and teaching, and you know, I think maybe like when I'm in my mid 50s, I might. But for right now, like, show me the money.
Yeah, well, that only goes
Jerry
so far.
Maguire up in here.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny, when I left my last job, so Jessica, I had just moved Jessica here, and I made her my secretary at the radio station.
Oh, yeah.
I did, just because like she needed something to do, and she was like, "Oh, I'll go work with you," and I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds great." But I like this. I was going through the divorce,
Right.
and this had been in the back of my mind for years. Like this is all like a dream. Like the studios it's a dream of mine that I always had. And things just got like really weird at my job because, you know, I was going through the divorce, and my new fiance was working at the place, and everybody had their opinions, and you know how that goes. Like, and so I was joking with Jessica. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna Jerry Maguire this place and just walk out one day and hold a goldfish up and be like, "Who's coming with me?"
Right.
So my last day at the radio station was literally that scene of Jerry Maguire. I had so much
Nice.
fun with it.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And Jessica was my Renee Zellweger. She came with me.
There you go.
Totally unexpected, by the way. Like,
That's
just
sometimes you have
we
to
decided
do
to do it.
Sometimes you just need to do it, yeah.
All right, it's a fresh start. But anyways, like we spent a summer traveling, and we were everywhere. Like we went everywhere, and then we came back and started building this in September.
that. Nice.
Right. So you know, just perseverance is all it
Yeah.
takes.
And we do appreciate you
Yes,
Well,
we
I
do.
certainly hope so.
more than you will ever know.
I don't need to be appreciated. It's okay. But you know, we are all living that true story right now. This is our studio. This is our home. This is what produces our magic and gets it out to you, the audience. And we're always looking to grow the family. If you're you have a positive mindset, and you want to be serious, and this is important. You want to be serious about crafting your art, then True Story Studios is the place for you, for sure.
Exactly.
Shameless plug there.
I
Yeah.
like it.
I like it. It's nice to be with so many like-minded people.
Right, it is. It helps to open up a creative space and fill it with people that are creative. Like it's a wonderful, magical kind of thing. Like I would not want to live my life any other way, regardless of, you know, how much stress it is to actually run the business. Like eventually I will hire a business manager and I will just be the creative because that's who I am. But yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful space, and these podcasts are wonderful things that I enjoy immensely, whether it's I'm here talking behind the mic or I'm on the other side, just running it for you ladies or whoever. like I just love what I do, and I hope it shows.
Yeah.
It definitely does.
Yes, we appreciate you.
So for us in this first ever episode of True Story Fusion, Lucy came up with the name like on the spot. It's pretty good. We're gonna stick with it. That's it, and you can see a little more behind the scenes. I'd say monthly for now on True Story Fusion.
Namaste.
Say bye. Oh, we got a namaste. I like that.
Namaste.
Perfect.
Peace
All right.
out, man.
I was just gonna do that. We out.